I remember the day of my crash very well. Shortly after graduation from high school, I was coming home from a girlfriend's house, a trip that I'd done numerous times. I fell asleep at the wheel. I had stayed up all night the night before. Where I lived was about 30 miles away, and I thought I was fine. I was wide awake when I dropped her off at her house, and driving home I fell asleep just a mile from home. So I figured a few more minutes I could make it. I'm almost home, and I didn't make it. I crossed the center line, hit a driveway embankment, and flipped my car. Wasn't wearing a seatbelt and was thrown through the sunroof. I landed on the highway. In one instant, all my hopes and dreams that I spent 18 years building were gone. None of it included a wheelchair. I remember laying in the hospital bed in intensive care and a nurse standing over me telling me that I would never walk again and how my life was going to be changed, the things that I was no longer going to be able to do. I had to learn how to get dressed. I had to learn how to get in and out of my chair, how to bathe myself. I had to learn how to get around in public, how to go shopping, how to cook. Everything that I had been doing my whole life, I had to learn all over of how to do from a wheelchair. And thinking back, I remember lots of warning signs. I remember dozing off numerous times. I remember getting to my girlfriend's house that morning and falling asleep on her couch while she was getting ready. I remember falling asleep at my grandmother's house that evening before I took her home. I had all these warning signs and ignored them all because, sure, I've nodded off before, but nothing ever happened. I wasn't doing anything illegal. There's no law against drowsy driving. And it's something that I've done numerous times before, so why would this time be any different? I was just 90 seconds from home and thought I could stay awake for 90 seconds, and I didn't make it. And because of that, my life has changed forever. And now what I want to do is use my experience, use what happened to me, share my story with other people so they won't make the same mistake I did. You cannot change your past, but you can change your future. Regret is the heaviest burden that you will ever bear. I know, because I bear it every day.
The body is most susceptible to sleep at two periods, between midnight and 6 in the morning and in the middle of the afternoon. The one that's less well known is the one in the middle of the afternoon, which is the one that affected me. I got sleepy, and I knew I was sleepy, but all my life I've been driving, you get sleepy, you get through it. It's that belief that you're going to get through it that kills.
According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, at least 100,000 police-reported crashes each year are the direct result of driver fatigue, resulting in an estimated 71,000 injuries and 1,500 deaths.
You think you're going to get through it this time and there's no problem. It'll pass. But there are these times when it doesn't, and the consequences can be horrific.
Tom Callaghy, a college professor, knows all too well the dangers of drowsy driving. He and his wife of 33 years were driving back to their home in Pennsylvania. Tom dozed off at the wheel just for an instant and drove into the trees. His wife died in the crash.
Janie was asleep in the front seat, and I didn't want to wake her up. She was tired and happy, and we were on our way home, and I should have, but I didn't. It'd been sort of gray overcast all day and drizzle, and the road was gray and the water was gray and the trees were gray because there were no leaves on them. The road was straight. There's a profile for these kind of accidents, and all of these conditions fit this type of accident, something I didn't know at the time. And there's the middle of the afternoon in terms of the body rhythm dip. I did all the normal things one does when one gets sleepy while driving. I turned on the radio, I opened the window, those kinds of things. And I was just about at the point where I realized I should stop. And I'd actually sort of started to reach over to wake her up, and it was too late.
Tom believes he fell asleep for just a few seconds, something that happens to most people.
We call those microsleeps. And that microsleep, which could be a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, literally they're disconnected.
But if you are traveling 65 miles an hour in just 3 seconds, you've traveled the length of a football field.
I wasn't speeding, I hadn't been drinking, there was no medication, substance abuse, anything. I just fell asleep. And the car went off the road, sideswiped a bunch of trees, and then finally hit one, and she died instantly.
Crashes like Tom Callaghan's can be prevented. If you're tired, don't drive. And know the signs that you might be falling asleep behind the wheel. They include difficulty focusing, burning eyes or yawning repeatedly, trouble remembering the last few miles driven, feeling restless and irritable, tailgating, missing traffic signs or exits, or hitting rumble strips.
You must absolutely act as soon as you think that you're getting sleepy. You stop, take a nap, you drink some coffee or anything else with caffeine in it. Actually, soft drinks are preferable because you have a definite amount of caffeine in them. Coffee varies enormously. Change drivers, walk around, whatever. But you must absolutely act. If I'd known then what I know now, it simply wouldn't have happened. Janie would still be here, but she's not.